3 years ago, I watched two people start identical businesses. Same industry, same resources, same opportunities. One failed within 6 months, the other built a $1 million company. The difference, one had passion, the other just had a plan. But here's the fascinating part. The successful one wasn't naturally passionate about business. She learned how to cultivate passion, using a specific framework that transformed her from someone who liked her work to someone who couldn't stop thinking about it. Today, I'm breaking down exactly how she did it. Why passion becomes your secret weapon. Most people think passion is just about loving what you do, but neuroscience reveals something far more powerful happening in your brain when true passion kicks in. When researchers at Stanford University scanned the brains of people engaged in activities they felt passionate about, they discovered something remarkable. The neural activity looked completely different from people who were simply interested or even highly motivated. Passion creates measurable changes in brain chemistry that directly impact your success outcomes. Your brain releases a cocktail of dopamine, norepinephrine, and endorphins that doesn't just make you feel good. It fundamentally alters how you process information, make decisions, and respond to challenges. This isn't just feel-good science. These chemical changes translate into concrete behavioral patterns that separate successful people from everyone else. Here's where it gets counterintuitive. Passion isn't actually about feeling good all the time. It's about rewiring your response to failure and obstacles. When passionate people encounter setbacks, their brains literally process these experiences differently than other people. Instead of triggering the threat response that makes most people want to quit, passionate individuals experience what researchers call eustress, a positive stress response that sharpens focus and increases problem-solving ability. This represents a genuine biological advantage. Passion triggers neural pathways that are completely different from simple enjoyment or interest. When you enjoy something, your brain's reward centers light up temporarily. When you're interested, your attention networks engage. But passion activates your brain's executive function networks, the same areas responsible for long-term planning and complex reasoning. This is why passionate people can work for hours without feeling drained. Research from the University of Rochester tracked individuals over 5 years and found that passionate people process setbacks as data rather than defeats. They don't just bounce back faster, they extract more useful information from failures. Their brains literally categorize obstacles differently, filing them under useful feedback instead of reasons to quit. This explains why passion provides renewable energy, while motivation burns out quickly. Motivation depends on willpower, which depletes throughout the day like a battery. Passion operates on a different system entirely. It's self-regenerating because it's connected to your brain's intrinsic reward networks. The more you engage with something you're passionate about, the more energy you have for it. The specific brain mechanisms that make passionate people more resilient during challenging periods center around something called cognitive reappraisal. Their brains automatically reframe obstacles as opportunities to improve, rather than threats to avoid. This creates a unique psychological state where obstacles become fuel rather than barriers. The entrepreneur from our opening story couldn't stop despite setbacks, because her brain had learned to convert every problem into motivation. This neurological transformation explains why she succeeded where others failed. But understanding brain chemistry is just the beginning. The 5 forces that create unstoppable drive. The woman from our opening story scored herself on 5 specific components, and her lowest score revealed exactly why her first business attempt had failed. When she rated herself on sustained energy, she gave herself a 9 out of 10. For perseverance, she marked down an 8. But when she reached the meaning component, she stared at the assessment for several minutes before writing down a 3. These 5 research-backed components distinguish genuine passion from surface-level interest or temporary enthusiasm. Psychology researchers at Yale University identified these factors after studying over 3,000 individuals across different industries and life stages. They found that people who scored high on all 5 components achieved their goals at rates 400%, higher than those who only scored high on 1 or 2 areas. Most people mistake having just 1 or 2 components for true passion, which explains why their efforts fizzle out. You might have incredible energy for a project, but lack the meaning connection that sustains you through difficult periods. Or you might find deep meaning in your work, but struggle with the innovation drive that helps you solve complex problems. The first component involves sustained energy that regenerates rather than depletes. This differs completely from adrenaline-driven excitement that burns bright and crashes hard. When you have genuine passion, working on your project actually gives you more energy than it takes away. You finish a long work session feeling energized rather than exhausted. This happens because your brain's reward systems are engaged in a way that creates positive feedback loops. The perseverance component creates a different relationship with time and delayed gratification. Passionate people don't just tolerate waiting for results, they enjoy the process of working toward them. They view setbacks as temporary obstacles rather than permanent roadblocks. This component transforms your entire approach to goals, making you someone who sees years as reasonable timeframes rather than impossible delays. The innovation drive makes passionate people natural problem solvers who see limitations as puzzles to crack. When they encounter obstacles, their first instinct is to ask, "How can I solve this?" rather than, "Why is this happening to me?" This drive pushes them to find creative solutions that others miss entirely. The meaning component connects daily actions to larger purpose, creating internal motivation that external rewards can't match. This goes beyond just knowing why you do something. It's about feeling the connection between your work and your deeper values on a visceral level. The first four components create a foundation for something even more powerful. When you have sustained energy, perseverance, innovation, drive, and meaning, you develop what researchers call the ripple effect component. Your authentic passion becomes contagious and transforms entire environments. This explains why passionate people create successful teams. Their energy spreads to everyone around them. Knowing these components is different from actually developing them in your own life. The transformation that awaits you. 3 years later, that same entrepreneur told me the most surprising change wasn't her bank account. It was how she experienced time itself. Days that used to drag by now felt rich and full. Hours spent on project, the cultivation framework that changes everything. The successful entrepreneur used a 3-stage framework that transformed her from someone who dreaded Monday mornings to someone who worked weekends by choice. She implemented this systematic approach over 18 months, documenting every step in a journal that became her blueprint for sustainable passion development. This practical methodology starts with a curiosity cultivation stage that most people skip entirely. Instead of waiting for passion to strike like lightning, you actively explore interests through what she called micro-experiments. She spent 15 minutes each day investigating different aspects of her field, reading case studies, watching interviews, and testing small ideas. This wasn't casual browsing. She approached each exploration with specific questions and recorded her emotional responses. The common mistake involves trying to force passion instead of creating conditions where it naturally emerges. When you pressure yourself to feel passionate about something, you activate your brain's resistance mechanisms. The framework works because it removes pressure while increasing exposure to potential passion triggers. The curiosity stage uses specific techniques for exploring interests deeply enough to discover hidden connections and meanings. She would take one aspect of her business and trace its impact on real people's lives. She interviewed customers, suppliers, and employees to understand how her work rippled through their experiences. These conversations revealed connections she never noticed during surface-level exploration. The alignment process matches discovered interests with personal values, creating the foundation for sustainable engagement. She mapped her core values onto different business activities, identifying where her work aligned with what mattered most to her. This wasn't about finding perfect matches. It was about recognizing where authentic connections existed and strengthening them. Challenge integration reframes obstacles as skill-building opportunities rather than roadblocks. When she encountered problems, she would ask 3 questions. What skill is this challenge teaching me? How will overcoming this obstacle make me more capable? What would someone who loves solving problems think about this situation? This approach transformed her relationship with difficulty from avoidance to engagement. Feedback loop creation maintains momentum by tracking growth and impact rather than just outcomes. She measured how many new connections she made between ideas each week, how quickly she recovered from setbacks, and how often she chose challenging tasks over easy ones. These metrics showed her passion developing in real time. When someone successfully implements this framework across different life areas, something remarkable happens. The systematic approach creates compound effects, where passion in one area amplifies passion in others. Her business success gave her confidence to apply the same framework to fitness, relationships, and hobbies. Each area where she cultivated passion made the next area easier to develop. This acceleration explains why her second business venture succeeded so quickly compared to her first attempt. Seconds passed like minutes, but somehow she accomplished more than ever before. When someone has successfully cultivated passion across personal and professional domains, their daily experience transforms completely. Morning routines become energizing rather than obligatory. Work sessions flow naturally from one task to the next, without the constant mental negotiation that exhausts most people. Evening activities feel chosen rather than defaulted to, creating a sense of intentionality that permeates every decision. Many people fear that developing passion might lead to workaholism or imbalance, but the opposite actually happens. Passionate people develop better boundaries because they understand the difference between productive engagement and mindless busywork. They work intensely when it matters and rest completely when they need to recharge. The professional transformation shows how passionate work feels effortless while producing exceptional results. She found herself solving problems that had stumped her for months, not because she was working harder, but because her mind naturally gravitated toward creative solutions. Meetings became collaborative sessions where she contributed insights that surprised even herself. Her output increased while her stress levels decreased. Personal life changes included deeper relationships and more meaningful leisure activities. She approached conversations with the same curiosity she brought to business challenges, asking better questions and listening more intently. Weekend activities shifted from passive entertainment to active engagement. Hiking trips where she noticed details she had previously missed, cooking experiments that sparked genuine excitement, and social gatherings where she felt truly present. The ripple effects on family, friends, and colleagues created a positive feedback loop that amplified her own passion. Her husband started applying her framework to his own career. Her business partner began experimenting with micro-challenges in her personal life. Team members requested more complex projects because they saw how she approached difficult work with genuine enthusiasm rather than grim determination. Long-term compound benefits included increased resilience that made setbacks feel temporary rather than devastating. Her creativity expanded as she drew connections between seemingly unrelated areas of her life. Life satisfaction deepened because she felt aligned with her authentic self rather than performing a role that didn't fit. Passion transforms your relationship with time, making you feel like you have more of it because you're fully engaged rather than just going through motions. Minutes spent in passionate pursuit feel both timeless and valuable. This explains why she could work weekends by choice, while her previous self had counted down minutes until Friday. The framework applies to any area of life where someone wants to move from existing to thriving. And final thoughts before we wrap up. Passion isn't a personality trait you're born with. It's a skill you can develop using specific, proven methods. The three-stage cultivation framework works because it creates conditions where passion naturally emerges rather than forcing feelings that aren't authentic. Right now, identify one area of your life where you want to move from liking to loving and commit to applying this framework. Start with 15 minutes of daily curiosity cultivation. Track your emotional responses. Look for connections between your interests and values. Every passionate person started as someone who simply decided to take their curiosity seriously. Steve Jobs believed that people with passion can change the world for the better. Your transformation begins with that same decision. Thank you for taking the time to explore the transformative power of passion with me today. Remember, passion isn't just a feeling, it's a skill you can cultivate with intentional effort and curiosity. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how your life begins to shift in amazing ways. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. Stay curious, keep growing, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.